I got dragged out of first class like I was some kind of criminal, and all because they didn't think I looked like I belonged there. Yeah, that happened. But what those flight attendants didn't know, my dad owns the damn airline. It started like a regular travel day. I was 17, heading to LA for a little end-of-summer trip before senior year kicked in. My dad had surprised me with a first-class ticket, early birthday gift. He's always been that kind of dad, supportive but humble. Taught me never to brag about what we have, so I didn't. I walked into JFK in jeans and a plain jacket, just trying to blend in, not flex. But the moment I got to the gate, I felt it. The agent, this tall, tight-lipped guy, looked at me like I was lost. He asked, "Can I help you?" Like I'd wandered into the wrong part of the terminal. I told him I was on the LA flight, handed him my first-class boarding pass. He scanned it and raised an eyebrow, real slow. "You're in first class?" I nodded. "Yes, seat 3A. He didn't smile, didn't say welcome, just told me to wait. That's when I knew something was off. Still, I tried to brush it off. Maybe he was having a bad morning, right? But once I boarded, it only got worse. One of the flight attendants, Sandra, gave me this look like I'd just spilled something on her shoes. She said, "Good morning, miss," with a tone that made it sound like I was an inconvenience. I took my seat, tried to breathe, tried to relax. But a few minutes into the flight, she came back, asking to see my boarding pass again. Then she came back with the same gate agent. Apparently, now, there was a discrepancy with my ticket. They said the name on the credit card used to book it didn't match mine. I told them, my dad booked it. I'm underage. It's his card. I even showed them the itinerary he sent me, screenshots of our texts, everything. But they didn't care. "We can't verify your identity," Reynolds, the gate agent, told me. "You may need to move to economy or disembark at the next stop." I looked at him and said, "This is a direct flight." And he just shrugged, like that made it worse for me. I tried to stay calm. I offered my ID again, showed proof. Still nothing. Then it turned aggressive. Reynolds actually grabbed my arm and said, "Come with us." Sandra blocked the aisle like I was a threat. And I get it. I do. I'm a young black girl sitting in a seat they didn't expect me to be in. I've dealt with looks before. But this was different. They pulled me out of my seat, in front of everyone. I felt their hands on me, squeezing too hard. My arms started to bruise. I looked up and saw passengers staring, phones raised, some whispering, others just frozen. It felt like time slowed down. I heard someone say, "She's a kid." And another voice, a woman, shouted, "She didn't do anything." But Sandra snapped, "Please return to your seat," like we weren't in the middle of a scene. I begged them to let me call my dad. Just one call. That's all it would take. But they kept saying phones were restricted mid-flight. I even offered to buy the in-flight Wi-Fi to use a messaging app, but they shot that down too. Then, finally, Linda stepped in. She was the only flight attendant who seemed to actually see me, not just as a problem, but as a person. She told the captain what was going on and got permission to contact corporate. They patched her through to my dad's assistant. When I heard Miss Prescott's voice, I nearly broke down. I told her everything, tried to stay composed. She put me on hold to get my dad out of a meeting, and I swear, Those seconds felt like hours. Then I heard his voice. "Ava," he said, "what's going on?" And I just let it out. "They think my ticket's fake. They dragged me out of my seat. They won't believe me." His tone changed. It went ice cold. "Put Linda on the phone." I handed the receiver to her, and the moment she said his name to Reynolds, "Mr. Monroe would like a word," the color drained from that man's face. I watched him take the phone, stammer, try to explain himself. "We were following protocol. We didn't know." But the damage was done. Linda got off the phone and made an announcement loud enough for everyone to hear. "Mr. Monroe has confirmed that Ava Monroe is his daughter and a valid first-class passenger. She is to be treated with full respect. A report will be filed regarding this incident." I'll never forget that moment. It was like the entire plane exhaled. People clapped. The woman from earlier came over and offered me chocolate. A man leaned over and said, "We've got your back." Even the guy in 1A, the one who turned out to be a lawyer, stood up and said, "I've been recording since the beginning. If they touch you again, they'll regret it." Reynolds retreated to the galley. Sandra followed. They didn't look at me again. Linda brought me an ice pack, sat with me, said she was sorry, truly sorry. I believed her. When we landed, security escorted me through a private exit. My dad was already waiting. The moment he saw me, he hugged me so tight I thought I'd melt. "I'm so sorry," he said, checking the bruise on my arm. "I saw the videos." Yeah, videos. Multiple passengers had posted everything online. By the time we touched down, it was all over social media. Hashtags like #JusticeForAva were trending. I didn't ask for any of it, but maybe it needed to happen. That same week, my dad fired Reynolds and Sandra, and when corporate dug deeper, they found past complaints about Reynolds. Stuff that had been swept under the rug, not this time. I ended up releasing a short video just explaining what happened. I didn't want to be the CEO's daughter who got special treatment. I wanted people to know this kind of thing happens all the time. But not everyone has a father who can call from the top floor and shut it down. That's the scary part. So here's what I want to ask you. If I hadn't made that call, would anyone have believed me? If I were just another teenager sitting in coach, would this story have gone any differently? How many people get judged by how they look instead of who they are? Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you ever seen someone treated unfairly just because they didn't look the part? Let's talk about it. Because this isn't just about me. It's about what happens when people think power looks a certain way, and humanity gets lost in the process.